What up team, it is MurderInc here today to show you a Barbarian leveling guide for Season 3. Let's dive right into it. Alright, so the season hype is here. You have picked a Barbarian. I'm here to give you the perfect build to get all the way to level 50 as quick as possible, dealing as most damage as possible. So if you just want the build planner, head on down to the pinned comment and you will see this. The mobilytics guide that I did make, I make one every season. They're usually very popular and players absolutely love these leveling guides, so who am I to stop now? So this is going to be the build. It's going to be a variant of upheaval and charge. And before I go over things here, there's going to be a few things you want to know if you do just want to have the guide. But the first thing is going to be, this may not be the fastest, most efficient build if you're looking to speed run all the way to 100 and you don't really care about the fun factor. What I did this season is a bit different than the prior seasons in its charge, right? Charge is getting reworked. No one in the world, besides people at Blizzard, as of right now, since it hasn't gone live yet, knows how good charge is going to be. We know it's buffed to infinity. It's supposed to do insane damage. So instead of building a leveling guide without charge, we're just going to use it right off the rip because it seems like they want us to use it this season. And based on the tooltips, it should do a ton of damage, right? So we're going to throw this into the build, even though no one's really used charge while leveling, especially in the low levels. So of course, as you see here, you can click this on the right to switch on the leveling tree, or you can click it off just to see an overview. But this is going to be the recommended points to take. And what I'm doing here is I'm balancing out Fury, because if you've ever leveled a Barbarian, running at a Fury is awful. Spamming your lunging strike over and over just to do one upheaval, it really feels bad. So I tried to add as much as possible to make it very smooth, and this is what all of the builds and seasons have led up to today. So instead of just walking you through this entire build, reading you the skills, no one really wants that. I'm gonna head on over to the actual game itself so you can see what this should look like at, right now my character is level 9, right? So you're gonna see what a level 9 with whatever gear. I think I've ran this dungeon a few times just to make sure this was smooth and strong, and it is, thankfully. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this very quickly here. And I don't have optimal weapons, but this is pretty much what your leveling experience should look like. It has good single target, good survivability, good AoE farm, like the best AoE farm actually. So we're going to do this. So that charge that I just did, in theory, should be killing everything, right? Because the buff is like very large. We're just going to go here. And if you've never ran upheaval before, there are definitely some people who don't like it. So I can see where everyone's coming from, where I don't like upheaval that feels slow. Pretty much it feels like you're mopping. Like that's when I try to explain it to people. I'm like, yeah, you're kind of just, you're mopping in Diablo 4, right? I enjoy the playstyle. I don't think it's as clunky as people claim, but of course, acquired taste. Now, this is probably the lowest damage you'll see from this build, because again, it's based on charge hitting really hard. And as of right now, in the current iteration of the game, why it's being buffed, it does not hit hard at all. So that's why I'm struggling with these single target mobs, but it is what it is. So we're just going to head to the next pack. You kind of see the playstyle. The point is you generate rage, you're going to hit charge and do a ton of damage, probably killing everything. And then upheaval is going to be the cleanup, right? So you can do a lot, and you can see I'm stunned right now. All of that, we need to get some kills. And I mean, just look at the utility, right? This is why upheaval is so much better than pretty much everything else on the early on levels, because you don't have a lot of fury and the range of upheaval is crazy. So if you swap to any other core skill, especially Hammer the Ancients, which I know is a fan favorite for sure, there are some major downsides without aspects. One of the reasons why I think upheaval is the strongest leveling option is because it doesn't require everything. You kind of just head into the dungeon. You have, I would say 1/3 of your screen is covered by upheaval, the core skill total. So you're just going to have a really smooth time leveling. Now, as you can see, I'm not doing a ton of damage because I still have the baseline weapon, right? If I got lucky, got a blue weapon, a yellow weapon, we would be just absolutely destroying everything here. And as the points keep coming, everything's just going to get better and better. So put another point to charge, it does more damage. There we go. So now that I kind of showed you what the gameplay is going to look like, a lot of the questions I get when I do make the leveling build planner is what happens if I pull a unique, which is why I kind of wrote a section here about uniques here. Whenever I make builds, I always make it so if you do pick up unique, that's very specific to one core skill. For example, if you get Ramaladni weapon, which is an unreal weapon, let me just go to it very quickly here. We'll go on to edit. So if you're lucky and you get a drop of Ramaladni's magnum opus, this unlocks so much, right? Because now wherever you tie this skill to, and in case you're curious about that, we can head on over to our bar here. And as we can see, if I hit the middle mouse button on the computer, I'm not sure what it is on the console, the middle mouse button will change your arsenal to two-handed weapon, slashing weapon, or a dual wield if it's applicable. So if you did pull Ramaladni, you could swap to your core skill if you're allowed to. The dual wield weapons, which are damage is going to spike, so double swing is viable, Whirlwind is going to be viable, Rend, Hammer of the Ancients, and Upheaval cannot use Ramaladni. So if you get it, swap to any core skill that you personally enjoy and just enjoy the busted unique while you're leveling up. It's pretty much that simple. You're not going to have to change much. All you're going to have to change is you're just going to go to the skill tree, swap the core skill you want for Upheaval. You can keep everything else. Then you're going to go and look through the aspects. Anything that has to do with Upheaval, you want to get rid of. So the first one would be aspect of Sundered Ground. Get rid of that. Swap in any other aspect that kind of matches the new build you're going to play with the RNG drop of whatever unique you got, and you are game set match to go. Now when building this is only really a leveling guide for level 1 to 50, as I said before, so you don't have to go around min-maxing all of your stats. I gave you some stats to look for if you're lucky to get it, but these aren't things you have to farm. As I start playing more, and this is what most people should be doing for build guides, once the season's live, all of the tested builds will then come out. It's okay to theory craft. There are tons of really smart players. The issue isn't the players, it's actually Blizzard. They break things all the time. There's probably going to be something, maybe with this build, or an interaction with charge that is bugged and makes it do stupid, ridiculous damage or bleeding, anything like that. If something like that is found in the first day, I'll just head straight to the build planner, update it so you have the broken version of whatever we're playing. And if it's nerfed and fixed quickly, I'll come to this build planner, of course, and change it as well. So that's going to be a breakdown of the build. Of course, you do have the build planner as well. And the only other thing to talk about is kind of the rotation. So if you scroll down to the section that says gameplay loop, Rallying Cry, Call of the Ancients, Lunging Strike, Charge, Lunging Strike, Upheaval, Ground Stomp, Lunging, Upheaval, Full Fury to do this entire rotation based on the talents you're taking. Obviously, you're not going to have Call of the Ancients until later on. We get it at level 25, or maybe that's 25. So we get this 25 skill points into the tree. So it's not that far off. You'll have it pretty quickly into your season journey for sure. And the rest is going to be smooth sailing. The last and final thing to talk about is the Seneschal construct. This is new for season 3. This is kind of the season theme for gear at least. And what I recommended for leveling, I'm not sure how much access we're going to have to this while leveling up, if we're going to have a full construct set on our way to 50, or if that's something we're gonna have to progress further into the game. What I picked is a lot of utility, because Barbarian does a ton of damage. Even though some things were nerfed, we're gonna be overkilling everything, including while we're leveling, because Barbarian is just scaling very well. So I took as much survivability on the construct as I could, and then as much support as possible. So we have resource here and all of these things. It's going to work out very, very nice. So that's going to be this leveling guide that I made for this season. I'm going to be using this. I plan to be 70, 80 the first day. Hopefully, if everything goes smoothly, and we're going to figure out, usually the most popular build guides I have are level 40 to 80. That's where a lot of players can really focus on their builds more in depth. I'm going to have that build out pretty quickly into the season launch when I start testing out a bunch of things and figure out what really pops off. So stay tuned for that build guide. That's going to conclude this video. To make sure you stay up to date on all of the builds that I do publish, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like this video. And I will see you all in the next upload.